Committee study of the Central Intelligence Agency's Detention and Interrogation Program is a report compiled by the bipartisan United States Senate Select Committee on Intelligence about the Central Intelligence Agency Detention and Interrogation Program and its use of torture during interrogation in U.S. government bulletins on detainees in CIA custody. The more than 6,700-page report, including 38,000 footnotes, details the history of the CIA's detention and interrogation program and the committee's 20 findings and conclusions. On December 9th, 2014, the SSCI released a 525-page portion that consisted of key findings and an executive summary of the full report. It took more than 5 years to complete. The full unredacted report remains classified. Today's summary: Bureau of Prisons wowed by level of deprivation at CIA's COBALT Detention site. December 2002, the CIA's rendition group sent a team of recently trained interrogators to detention site COBALT to engage in interrogations. The interrogation plans proposed by that team for at least 3 detainees at detention site COBALT included the use of interrupted sleep, loud music, and reduction in food quality and quantity. Less than a month after the death of Gul Rahman from suspected hypothermia, the plans also called for detainees' clothes to be removed in a facility that was described to be 45 degrees Fahrenheit. CIA headquarters approved the proposals for these detainees, whom the CIA described as medium value. Prior to this, in November of 2002, a delegation of several officers from the Federal Bureau of Prisons conducted an assessment of detention site COBALT following the November blank 2002 through November blank 2002 visit. CIA officers in country blank remarked that the Federal Bureau of Prisons assessments, along with recommendations and training, had made a noticeable improvement on how the day-to-day operations at the facility are performed, made the detention site a more secure and safer working environment for blank officers. On December 4, 2002, officers at CIA headquarters met with individuals from the Federal Bureau of Prisons to learn more about their inspection of detention site COBALT and their training of blank security staff. During that meeting, the Federal Bureau of Prisons personnel described detention site COBALT and stated that there was absolutely no talking inside the facility, that the guards do not interact with the prisoners, and that everything is done in silence and in the dark. According to a CIA officer, the Federal Bureau of Prisons staff also commented that they were wowed at the first sign of the facility because, quote, they have never been in a facility where individuals are so sensory deprived, constant white noise, no talking, everyone in the dark, with the guards wearing a light on their head when they collected and escorted a detainee to an interrogation cell. Detainees constantly being shackled to the wall or floor, the starkness of each cell, concrete and bars. There is nothing like this in the Federal Bureau of Prisons. They then explained that they understood the mission, and it was their collective assessment that in spite of all this sensory deprivation, the detainees were not being treated inhumanely. They explained that the facility was sanitary. It was medical care, and the guard force and our staff did not mistreat the detainees, end quote. By the end of December 2002, the CIA renditions group that had visited detention site COBALT had concluded that the detention facility's initial baseline conditions involved so much deprivation that any further deprivation would have limited impact on the interrogations. The team recommended that experts and authorities, other than the individuals who crafted the process, review the interrogation process and conditions, and that a legal review be conducted. CIA headquarters does not appear to have taken action on these recommendations.
Officially, it's codenamed Detention Site COBALT. It was hard to believe that this place not only existed, but was purpose-built by the world's premier intelligence agency.
When the CIA Inspector General sent a team to the site, they found one detainee who, as far as they could determine, had been chained to the wall in a standing position for 17 days.
The official CIA records cited in the Senate's report, even with redactions, read like a horror film. Isolation in total darkness, constant deafening music, rectal rehydration, keeping detainees in coffin-shaped boxes. The chief of interrogations said COBALT was the closest thing to a dungeon he'd ever seen. Despite their treatment, the US never charged Mohammed or Khalid with a crime.